Arleigh Albert Burke, October 19, 1901, January 1, 1996, was an admiral of the United States Navy who distinguished himself during World War II and the Korean War, and who served as Chief of Naval Operations during the Eisenhower and Kennedy administrations. USS Arleigh Burke, DDG-51, the lead ship of its class of Aegis-equipped guided missile destroyers, was commissioned in Burke's honor in 1991. The honor of naming a vessel after a living figure was only the fourth time it had been bestowed since 1861. He successively commanded Destroyer Division 43, Destroyer Division 44, Destroyer Squadron 12, and Destroyer Squadron 23. DesRon 23, known as the Little Beavers, covered the initial landings in Bougainville in November 1943, and fought in 22 separate engagements during the next 4 months. During this time, the Little Beavers were credited with destroying 1 Japanese cruiser, 9 destroyers, 1 submarine, several smaller ships, and approximately 30 aircraft. Burke's standing orders to his task force were destroyers to attack on an enemy contact without orders from the task force commander. After reviewing the Navy's early unsuccessful engagements with the Japanese, he concluded that uncertainty and hesitation had cost them dearly. The lesson was driven home to him at the Battle of Blackett Strait, when his radar operator made first contact with a ship near the shore but Burke hesitated to fire. A battle soon unfolded which ended in a U.S. victory, which only Burke was unhappy with. Reflecting on the events, Burke asked a nearby ensign what the difference was between a good officer and a poor one. After listening to the ensign's response, Burke offered his own. "The difference between a good officer and a poor one," said Burke, "is about 10 seconds. Burke usually pushed his destroyers to just under boiler bursting speed, but while en route to a rendezvous prior to the Battle of Cape St. George, a boiler casualty to USS Spence, a jammed boiler tube by a brush used for cleaning, limited his squadron to 31 knots, rather than the 34+ of which they were otherwise capable. His nickname was 31-knot Burke, originally a taunt, later a popular symbol of his hard-charging nature. An alternative explanation is provided by Gene Edward Smith in his biography of Eisenhower. During World War II, Burke mistakenly led his destroyer squadron into a Japanese minefield. Admiral Halsey radioed to ask what he was doing in a Japanese minefield. 31 knots, replied Burke. In March 1944, Burke was promoted to Chief of Staff to the commander of Task Force 58, the 5th Fleet's Fast Carrier Task Force, which was commanded by Admiral Mark Mitcher.